I'll let you go ahead and hit record and then we'll kick us off. Um, Hi, everybody. Welcome to our webinar around the Gulf Ecosystem Initiative. We're really glad to have you join. A few technical things. This is a webinar, so you can't raise your hand if you have a question. I can't see you. I can only see me talking to me and Courtney. But if you do have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And then I think we also have the Q&A working. Is that correct, Courtney?
Yes.
So if you have questions, feel free to add them there. And this will hopefully be about 15 to 20 minutes of us chatting, and then we want to leave plenty of time if you do have questions for us. But we are really excited that we have another call for the Gulf Ecosystem Initiative, and our deadline is February 20th. So you still have some time to get this in. The agenda for today, we'll just give you a little bit of background about what is the Gulf Ecosystem Initiative, more information about synthesis science working groups, what they are, how they work, why you should all want to be one. We also do have a call for postdocs, so we will be looking for one postdoc coming up. The application is due the same time, February 20th. We'll give you a little bit of information about how to apply, kind of what we're looking for in these proposals, how you can stay updated with us, and then leave plenty of time for questions. So I skipped a very important part of introducing myself and Courtney. Apologies. So I am Heather Lahr. I'm a program manager at NCEAS working on the Gulf Ecosystem Initiative, and I will pass it over to Courtney.
Hi, I'm Courtney Scarborough. I'm Deputy Director here at NCEAS, and I work closely with Heather on this Gulf Ecosystem Initiative. And if you sign up for office hours to come chat about a proposal, you'll be talking with me. So I'm excited to hear any questions you have here, and then always available for office hours after the fact.
Great. So I'll get us started. What is the Gulf Ecosystem Initiative? Many of you may be familiar with the NOAA Restore Science Program. It has been going on for many years and has funded many amazing projects. And it turns out that we have a whole lot of data in the Gulf. And it would, this program kind of came about of, wouldn't it be great if we could actually start some synthesis work around this data? And this is a really unique program because what we're looking for is kind of partnerships between academics and resource managers. And how can we, have science in service of solutions? We want to be kind of making decisions around our science. And lately I've been kind of working on another project around how do we bring data to action. And I think this is a really key way of, we have a lot of information. What can we bring it all together with the people that are making these decisions around management in the Gulf, and let's bring it all together. So the NOAA Restore program has been funding us for the last few years, and we are looking for groups to continue on with this process. So why NCs? So yes, we are focusing on the Gulf region, and we are over in Santa Barbara, but NC's just recently celebrated our 30-year anniversary of doing synthesis science. And many of you probably don't remember back in the day. I don't. I was a wee bit too young with early on ecological science, but people were very siloed and working independently. And what the Synthesis Center has come up with is, if we can bring people together in kind of a neutral area, away from their home institutions, away from all of the, pressures of daily life that you need to do, and we can really focus on these issues, bring together all this existing data. Turns out you can actually get a lot done when you do that. And so over the 30 years, we've had about 3,500 scientific papers published, 200 postdoc fellows that are now moving on to do really cool things. Our top 10 papers have had over 115,000 citations. We've hosted 11,000 researchers from 70 countries, and our model has actually been copied in over 30 different global synthesis centers. So we kind of think we have a good recipe. We know what's going on, and now we have this really great opportunity to bring synthesis to some of the Gulf initiatives that have been happening. And so this is going to be our fourth call for proposals, which is very exciting. So our first call was in 2023, and we funded two groups initially, fisheries and offshore wind, and also fisheries and ecosystem response to severe weather. And so these projects actually are just wrapping up now. They both have multiple publications. They've had postdocs that have been working with them, really looking at fisheries and offshore wind, kind of looking at how offshore wind development might be impacting fisheries, and then also ecosystem response to severe weather. This was actually focused in the Texas region. So these proposals can be Gulf-wide, they can be just within a state, and kind of looking at what happens with severe weather in estuaries. In 2024, we funded some groups looking at fish distribution shifts. So taking a look at cobia, which if you're from the Gulf, which you probably are, if you're listening to this, you know, cobia is a really important recreational fishing in Florida. And so we're kind of looking at where are these cobia going and how can we piece together all of this information to figure out this range shift. Also looking at restoring fish habitat in Florida's estuaries. And then just most recently, our groups that we funded earlier this year, we are looking at ecological impacts of artificial structures. So this is actually a spin-off of the offshore wind group, but still looking at what happens when we put artificial structures in water and looking at the ecological effects of this. And then we also have another group looking at AI and fisheries management. So with recreational fishing, how can we use AI to help with fisheries management? So this is just a flavor of some of the proposals that we've funded in the past. But we are looking for, I should have this in a different order because I want to tell you what we're looking for. Here we go. But what we're looking for is, you know, proposals, research questions that you've been having around climate change and the climate feedback loops in this area. Fisheries, as you can see, we funded a lot of fisheries already, but we're always looking for things that are not fisheries related too. And then the ecological impact of management. So we know there's a lot of management decisions that are happening. We with one of them, we've been working with Texas Park and Wildlife Department, so we can kind of go small again or more broad. But that's kind of the general flavor of the science we're looking for. And so kind of back to what is synthesis science? If you're new to this, is it like, well, I've collaborated with people before, so clearly I've done synthesis. Um, just to really put this more clearly, synthesis science is combining the data, theories, and tools to gain new insights and ask new questions around existing data. And so what this is really good at doing is looking at what do we know about something? So therefore, what do we not know about something? And how can that kind of unlock doors to solving real world problems? It's just really good at answering pressing large scale questions that need to be answered. And what makes really good projects are things that are like, I've already been thinking about this. And I kind of have an idea, like I think I have all this data, but I just haven't had the time to execute this yet. We are providing you a space and time to execute these things. So what is a working group? This program is really unique. So we've been doing working groups, as we said, for about 30 years. And that's been mostly working with academics, and that has been really great. But this program in particular is, again, really about coming up with science for decision making. And so we encourage people to bring together diverse teams across, yes, like gender and age group and career, but also, we have teams that are working with, kind of First Nations and resource managers and academics. Kind of, we want all the voices in the room, and we think that's going to create the science that is really going to serve these management decisions the best. Um, so you bring all these people together. You come to Santa Barbara, and one of the benefits is there is this neutral ground. It's a place, it's a beautiful place at that, which is a nice little bonus where you can all come together, and we will provide you a lot of support. We'll provide staffing support around data trainings and logistical support. And again, it's like if I really wanted to do this, but I don't have the time to actually plan around how do I get people all together in the same room? Where are they going to be? How am I going to feed these people? How am I going to reimburse all these people? We take care of all of that for you. You just get to come and do your science, and we do all that. So over the years,
we've actually had sociologists come and study NCEAS and why is this model so successful? And it really does come from this. We have this kind of secret sauce of bringing people together, supporting them, letting them do the science that they want to do while they're feeling supported. It also really increases networking, career boosts. Again, we have postdocs that will be working with these groups. And so it's just kind of there's the meeting time and then there's the after meeting time. And it's just like when you work in an office, so much happens at the water cooler or so much happens at the kitchen. This is kind of the same thing that happens with NCs. When you're all kind of stuck in one beautiful place together, you can have these kind of conversations that are happening and you will get things, new ideas will be sparking. And so, what questions are ideal for your working group? As I already mentioned, address a topic that you've been wanting to investigate, but you just haven't had the resources to bring them together. You can focus on topics that you're already working on as part of your job. And so, this is really key, particularly if you're working with resource managers and people that are being kind of paid to do this one type of job. It really works best when this would actually help you do your job better if I could answer this question. Those are kind of the things that really make the group gel and really, have the science and service of solutions. What do we provide? As I already mentioned, we provide kind of all of the, support on the ground, but we provide funding for meetings. And what this means is we provide just travel expenses to get you and your team from wherever you are to Santa Barbara. And then we also provide trainings for your teams. And so we actually are doing monthly trainings around collaborative data science, communication, facilitation. All of that will be up, you'll be, eligible to receive that. But then if there's also trainings that would be unique to your group, maybe around how does everybody get on GitHub? How can we all collaborate on GitHub? We know that this project in particular is bringing people from all different walks of life. So what are things that we can train you on so we're making sure you're all on the same page? We provide IT support. We have, which I know is very exciting. We have some servers. You can bring lots of data. We can store lots of data. So we provide all the IT support. And then we also provide facilitation support and advice. So a lot of people, again, I know you've worked with people, you've maybe been in meetings, but it's really nice to have an outside facilitator come and help you. How are you going to get from point A to point B in the time that you have together? So we will offer all of that support. I already mentioned the data science trainings, but we do have data management, project management, collaborating in GitHub, science communications. All of this you will have access to. And just a little bit about NCs. So we moved into a new building during COVID. So gosh, Courtney, have we been there for 5 years now? That seems a little bit crazy, but here is our lovely new building. We have an outdoor terrace. I can't say that every day is this sunny, but I will say most days are. So that's very exciting. We have a classroom downstairs. Here's what our conference room looks like. And what you're not seeing are all the windows that you get to see out and look out at our mountains and our courthouse. So it is a very beautiful space. What are some things that we don't fund? We don't fund salaries. We don't fund collection of new data or field research. Again, this is synthesis. We're looking at existing data that you have and how can you bring it all together. And one really important thing is no funds will be transferred to the investigator's home institution. What that means is you don't have to go through your Office of Research or your sponsored projects office to look at your proposal beforehand. No, all of the funds kind of stay with NCs. We pay for your travel, we pay for your hotel. We will be sending out stipends for your, time while you're here, and you don't have to deal with any of that. So that takes the kind of operational burden off of you. What are we looking for in terms of products with our working groups? Teams can develop models, databases, briefs, publications. As I mentioned, two of the groups that have just wrapped up, they've had multiple publications. Policy recommendations are also great. We really encourage you to engage with our NCs community. So we have probably 30 to 40 residents right now working at NCs We have a dozen postdocs working with us, working on all different projects. So we love engaging with working groups that are coming in to learn about what you're doing. And then, there's also a lot of other great work happening at NCEAS that you can, network with us and see what we're doing. A big outcome is an enhanced network. So you will not only expand your network with your working group members, but again, with the opportunities working with NCs. And we really, through the trainings, we hope that you will get advanced data science and science communication skills. So, what is the process of a working group look like? So this is usually takes place over the course of 2 years. And I think I get to this on the next slide, but generally that means 3 in-person meetings in Santa Barbara over the course of 2 years. So this is purposely a bit of a windy road because you might have a whole lot of pre-meeting expectations. And in your proposal, you think you're going to do all of these great things. And isn't this great? So you're going to have a pre-meeting, you're going to align your expectations, you're going to agree on kind of what communication tools you're going to be using, how you're going to wrangle data, where you're going to store your data. All of that can really be done kind of virtually beforehand. And then you come to NCs and you start to refine your questions and develop a plan. And it's okay if your plan maybe takes a turn and you thought you were going to be doing this, but now we find out we don't have this data, or we actually find out because we were all out axe throwing the other night, we came up with this new idea. That is okay. We support that. We know, we understand the process. And really, our end goal is to, again, have science for decision making. And if you thought this was going to be a good idea, but this is going to be a better idea, we support those turns in the road. So in between your in-person meetings, you're going to be doing analysis and usually having kind of virtual side meetings. Some groups split into little mini teams, other groups all stay together. It's really up to you. You'll have your second meeting and review the analysis, realign on the work plan, maybe work on some smaller teams. And then by your third meeting, typically people are starting to work on outputs. And so I can give a perfect example right now. At NCEAS this week, we have our offshore wind group, and it is their last meeting. They are working on an ecosystem model, and they are really hoping to potentially in a week write a paper. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that is actually like an achievable goal when you have 5 or 6 people and you have, a week to get this done. So that doesn't always happen. These meetings vary, but in general, we kind of expect, the flow to be 3 meetings over the course of 2 years. So as I just mentioned, 3 meetings over 2 years, contributions in between meetings. It's really good to kind of outline these working group expectations to people. So a lot of people, myself included, I get very excited that, yeah, this sounds like a great idea. I really want to do this. And then I realize, oh, wait, I actually need to commit some time to this. And so when you are kind of fishing around for working group members, here's a great list that you can share of this was what will be expected of you if you want to join this 2-year journey. So again, you'll be coming to Santa Barbara, you will be contributing in between meetings, you will, help communicate clearly to your team. You'll agree on a set of authorship guidelines. This is something we really promote early on in the process. You will contribute and agree to team ground rules. You will review and agree the NC's code of conduct and agree to fair data principles. So this is something that we really encourage you to talk about with all of your group members. And we actually, I think in the submission process, we kind of have a checklist if you've read through these and if you're okay with, being a group member. And so, along with this, another unique feature of the Gulf Ecosystem Initiative is that we do have funding for postdocs to help support these working groups. So we currently have 4 postdocs. In January, it will be 5. That 50% of their time is dedicated to their own work that they want to continue working on related to the Gulf. And 50% of their time is dedicated to being a member of a working group. And so this does not mean that they just have to do all the analysis and they have to do all the writing and they have to do all the work. You can think of them as an additional member of your team that can kind of help you move the project along and be part of the project. And so we are hiring one additional postdoc this time. And so it is a 2-year position. It will be due the same time, February 20th. You will be based in Santa Barbara, but have funds to travel to the Gulf for conferences and to work with mentors there. Ray just finished up he was one of our initial postdocs. He just finished up he's now teaching at Long Beach State University. And there's a little quote from him that he enjoyed working with so many awesome people from so many different institutes in so many parts of the country and the world. Because of that, I got to learn about different ecological systems, species, fisheries, management agencies, and I do think it really set him up for his future work that he will be doing. I know he has future collaborations. So if you are interested, if you're a postdoc on this call and you're a PhD student on this call and you're interested in being a postdoc, we do have our postdocs listed on our website, and you can always reach out to them. I think we might have a few joining us on this call as well, so you can ask those questions in the chat. Here is our lovely list of our current postdocs. So Mei Feng, she will be sadly leaving us in January, but we also have Li Yi, Jonathan Rodman, and Ellen Bradley that are currently working with working groups and also starting up their own research. All right, so proposal writing and how to apply. Our goal was trying to make this as easy as possible for you again. So it is a fairly short proposal, and on our website, there is a template that you can use. And this webinar and these slides will be available. So you can take a look at these checklists, but we also have them available on our website. And we really just, this is just an easy way to go down. Like, have you identified a problem that is good for synthesis? Do you have the appropriate data? Is there a clear pathway to implementation? And do you have the partners on board? And just to note, when you are listing out your partners, you don't have to have every single person confirmed, but the more people, that we see that you've talked to and that they have expressed interest is kind of the better. And have you, put together this diverse group that's going to work well together to answer these questions? Is the scope of the project appropriate and attainable given the time frame and around this? And so again, you kind of have 2 years, you have 3 in-person meetings, and we all know that there's a lot of other stuff happening in people's lives. So scoping this project appropriately is going to be really important. Have you sought feedback from your program and on your idea and your approach? And so in a minute, I will talk about how you can reach out to Courtney, and you can reach out to probably other working groups as well, and kind of see, like, is this a great idea? And we also really encourage you to think about the need for working group facilitation. As I mentioned, we do have that in-house at NCEAS, and that will be available for you. And that's anything from helping you plan your agenda to also being in the room and helping things move along kind of during that first working group meeting. So we have a proposal template it's pretty easy, it's pretty short. Proposal writing guidance document that walks you through all of the things. You can chat with Courtney at her office hours any Wednesday from 12 to 1 Central Time. And there's another big plus as a program manager that gets to write a lot of reports. There's pretty minimal reporting requirements. We really want you, again, to spend your time doing the science and not spending a lot of time worrying about the logistics and worrying about the reporting requirements. And so the big part is there is no budget needed, which is also exciting. No need of approval through your academic institutions. We will basically just say, yes, I can do this and I can achieve this in 3 working groups, and we'll kind of take care of the rest from there. So what are we looking for in these? We have 7 actual review criteria. We have a scientific advisory committee that will be reviewing these. So proposals are due February 20th. We hope to kind of be working through the evaluation process through April, and hoping to announce these awards in May. And then we really encourage working groups to start thinking about coming in the fall. And do you know what? these dates are all wrong. They should be 2026. Apologies for that. I missed that when I was changing things. But yes, think of all this as 2026. It's amazing that we're already there. So in the fall of 2026, we hope that you will start your, planning your first meeting to come here. Um, what are we looking for? We're looking for science in service of solutions. What is the potential impact pathways, and the anticipated management, and are the policy implications clear? Kind of, you have an idea now. What does this mean? What is this idea going to do? What's the urgency of this? Do you make it clear why questions are critically important to answer right now? There's a lot of urgent questions right now, so I don't think you should have a problem with that. Do you have a good management and inclusion plan? And really what that means is just kind of a clear plan on how you're going to build and maintain an inclusive culture. How are you going to think about including everyone in the room in the discussions and making sure that all the voices are heard? Taking a look at the working group composition. So we're going to look at, are you looking across career stages? Are you looking across different backgrounds, different sectors, different disciplines? One of the things in the secret sauce that I mentioned earlier is kind of this diverse working group composition, so that we have a diverse set of ideas, but also we have, plenty of worker bees and plenty of queens in the room type of thing, making sure that we can really achieve this. What is the kind of efficiency? Actually, scratch that. I think we're going to take that one out because you're not even submitting a budget this year. So isn't that great? Can you show us that you have the data? After working as a project manager now for 6 years in academia, data availability has been the biggest bane of my existence. So do you have the data? If you don't, that's probably not going to look so great. And is it a unique contribution? Is the research and challenge, is it unique? Does it occupy this niche? So unique and urgent is kind of what we're looking for. And so here are some resources around how you can connect with our team. Again, I encourage you, if you have ideas or just a spark of an idea, please reach out to Courtney, and you can sign up for all of this on our website. So now that I've talked for 28 minutes very rapidly, I am going to open it up for questions, and what questions do you have?
Is first one. Thanks, Heather. That was great and informational. We do have one question here. Is the opportunity open to international partners or collaborators? So folks from the Southern Gulf.
Yes, it is. We consider the right.
Yes, it is.
And also,
Yep.
there's been just some changes around this lately.
So, but yes, it's the whole Gulf. So, international collaborators, yes, please apply.
Speaking of changes, are there any changes to funding or anything since this is a NOAA program? I know we get that question a lot.
What
And
do
the
you
answer
mean
is
by
no.
that, Courtney?
I just mean
Okay.
a lot of people ask, like, oh, you know, we are
Right.
not having we already have the funding in hand for these
Yes.
working groups. So we are moving forward with our working groups and our postdocs and are confident that and excited to be able to offer funding for synthesis science right now.
Yes. Thank you. Any other questions?
None in, oh, here we go. Should proposals focus on activities and processes occurring in US waters? Can they include Mexican waters or only be about Mexican waters?
I'm gonna let you take that, Courtney.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Inclusion of international waters or Mexican waters is encouraged. I don't actually know if NOAA would prioritize US waters for at least some of the focus, but as much as the Gulf is a body of water and is impacted by all the participants in that body of water, I think that that would make sense. And you can also come to my office hours and we can chat through those details too. Does this funding support the continuation of previously funded projects or applications of methods to additional Gulf states? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it would require another proposal, but as I mentioned, we had the offshore wind group that has kind of spun off a new question and a new direction with that group. And so, definitely if there's research that you wanted to take further and a new direction that based on something, then yes. I don't know if that was the question or if it was like if I'm already working on something, but the short answer is yes. I know
And
another question we do get sometimes is also kind of, are we talking about just the Gulf as in water or the Gulf as in land as well? And so I think we are kind of thinking of this as the Gulf watershed.
So if there are more land-based projects, there's a lot of water that runs into the Gulf, and that also causes some issues. So if there's projects focused on that, that's also great.
we have a question about how many projects will get funded this cycle or in each cycle.
Well, great. So we are looking to fund probably 2 projects this next cycle.
Okay, any other questions from you all? Of course, as we mentioned, one more question. Is there a desired number of members?
So we think kind of what works is between 12 and 16. Our largest conference room holds about 18 people. I would say what is the optimal number? It's really about, do you have the right people in the room that can move the science forward in terms of ideas, but also getting the work done, and are all the voices represented? So that could take 12, that could take 16. That seems like a manageable group. Things bigger than that seem to get maybe a little bit more unruly. So we've kind of found the sweet spot to be between 12 and 16.
Thanks, Heather. This is also one we get variations on every year. Would it be best for proposals to address 2 priorities, for example, climate change and management actions addressing these impacts? And if so, should we frame it that way?
Yeah, so sure, frame it that way. Like basically, if you take a look at those 3 categories, it could be all of them. So I don't think we're not really prioritizing projects that hit more than one of those priorities. It's great if they do, and it's nice to outline that, this is really, I'm looking at climate change and management. Like it's good to outline it that way, but I think there's just so much overlap between those categories that almost naturally most are going to cover all 3 of those.
Yeah, they're pretty broad categories too.
Yeah.
Um, do all working group members need to be identified before the proposal is submitted?
I wouldn't say all of them, but I would say the majority of them should be. And it would be nice if they were identified and then also kind of confirmed that they are interested in participating. So one thing that will happen is through our science advisory committee, we will review the proposals and then typically we'll send back feedback for one if you did not, make it into the final round, the funding round. But the ones that we do fund, we might also kind of have some suggestions around, oh, have you thought about maybe adding a social scientist to this? Or have you thought about adding an economist to this? And so, your list doesn't have to be your final list, and the scientific advisory committee might also have some suggestions to enhance your proposal further. But it is good, it can't be like, here's 4 people, and then we'll find the rest of them and it'll be great. Like we do need to know that you have like the main people that you're going to need that have agreed to do it.
And the other thing is, if you have a role that you know you would like to fill, but you don't know who that person is, You should put that in your participant table and in your proposal to say, we know we need this expertise. It's really important to round out, our group and have the right people in the room, but we don't know who that person is yet. And in that case, it identifies for our review committee that you know that you need that expertise. And then it also um, allows us as a team here at NCEAS and our review committee and everyone to start helping you find that potential expertise. So as much as you can flesh out who needs to be in the room to get this conversation um, to be as beneficial as possible, put that in there. Yeah. Okay. Well, as we mentioned, please sign up for office hours if you want to come and talk about specific ideas, have additional questions. You can also always shoot us an email. We're really happy to help and we really want to support you in putting these proposals together. So feel free to sign up. Thanks,
Great.
Heather.
Yeah, and this, I'd highly encourage everyone to check out our website. It has all of these materials. It has stories from the past working groups and kind of what they've been looking at. So that can also maybe spark some ideas for you. And if you are if you're a PhD student on this call, feel free to, reach out to us and we can put you in touch with the existing postdocs and they can kind of tell you what their experience has been so far. So thanks so much for joining, and I wish everyone a great rest of your day.
Bye, all.